Well, g'day. It's day 22. This is officially the halfway point. I am now officially in the Kimberley. Left Darwin this morning. Darwin's been great fun. I had 3 nights there and a really good chance to catch up with Dan Bolton, who's known as that mallard guy. He flies one of the magnificent Pearl Aviation mallards. It's great to catch up with him. We went to dawn service together on Thursday. We then went for the fly in the afternoon. Now that fly in the afternoon was pretty fun. We landed on the rivers leading south out of Darwin, but then we went out to the Manton Dam, 20 miles south of Darwin, freshwater lake, very popular with water skiers, and there were a few boats there having fun, being the afternoon of a public holiday. But we landed there and alighted there. And it was just beautiful. And then I had Dan with me and his friend Ben, who's also a seaplane pilot. And they of course thought ahead. They had their bathers with them, so and jumped off the plane into the water for a swim. Now I didn't have bathers, but I wasn't 100% sure about crocodiles either. I don't know. I think I just did that, didn't I? It's anyway. They seemed confident, and I was happy to be the responsible person on the boat waiting for them. So we spent about half an hour there. I did a few splash and goes, and Dan had a good fly of the plane and did a few as well. After we had some fun on Manton Dam, we flew into MKT, which is a small civil airport with a great flying community down south of Darwin, outside of controlled airspace. Dan had arranged for us to have a Q&A there for people to see the plane, to see Southern Sun. And we had a great chat there, talk for everyone, and answered lots of questions. They put on a sausage sizzle. It was a fantastic night. And a friend of Dan's, Trent, was there, flew in and flew out again, and followed us and managed to get a few really nice air-to-air photos. So thanks for that, Trent. Don't get too many of those. And it was great going back to MKT. A few people remembered me being there in 2019 when I came back from London, but only one guy who couldn't quite remember, but I think he was the guy I met back in 2015. It was my last stop before I went to Darwin to leave the country, and I actually fueled up there, and this guy lent me his ute back in April of 2015 so that I could go backwards and forwards to the petrol station picking up the fuel I needed to fly all the way to Timor. And I must say, I look back on that now and realise just how nervous I was about the fact that I was about to head off on that big 300-mile offshore leg, and having never flown through an international airport before. So MKT is always going to have a special spot in my heart. Next day I had a day off, but that day off turned into a maintenance day, so I needed to do an oil change and just look at a few things. Still having a small electrical gremlin, which we don't seem to be able to hunt down. But John, who is the avionics engineer for Pasquale, being the day after a public holiday, a lot of them were having the day off, and he very, very kindly came in and gave me a hand to do some fault finding. And while we weren't able to fix it, we were able to kind of get to the bottom of what's probably happening, and that it's not a showstopper, and that I should just keep going. I might just have to charge one of the batteries overnight with a charger as we go. But how is this coastline? Oh my goodness. This is the part of the trip I was most excited about. Now I think we're at the moment what's called Kimberley North, and I think this is kind of like the entree. It's beautiful, but the really spectacular part is going to be when we get into Kimberley West, which is sort of where things like Horizontal Falls and a lot of the famous sites are. So Darwin went well. It's funny, I said to Dan during the day, I feel a bit bad. I only know one other couple in Darwin, but I haven't found time to go and see them yet, and that's Darcy and his fiancée, Anastasia, Darcy's a teacher, but he was my son Tim's best friend. And I just thought, look, I didn't finish working on the plane till 7 o'clock at night, and I was flying out this morning. I just said to him, look, I just have to accept I haven't got time to ring him and catch up. Well, can you believe that I joined Dan and his family for a pizza food truck down on the foreshore in Darwin, and who was there but Darcy and Anastasia? So it's been a little bit like that on this trip. When we were on Manton Dam having a swim, fishing boat came over with a group of locals who'd been enjoying a few drinks, and we're all pretty jolly. All of a sudden I hear this question being asked, has this guy got a brother called Chris? And unbelievably, I'd just obviously been to see my brother Chris, and this was the son of Tamo, who runs the service station in King Ash Bay and is really good friends with my brother. Gosh, it's a small world. That was just bizarre. So anyway, we had a good chat, and it was pretty funny. I've got 2 days in the Kimberley. I'm landing actually in about 20 minutes. I'll be coming into Cullumbrew, which is an old mission that's now an Aboriginal corporation. I'll be staying there for the night. I've got a room booked. They've got fuel there, which will be handy. And then I'll be heading off. I think I'll go a bit early just to beat a bit of the heat down to Broome. But I also want to give myself plenty of time to actually spend a lot of time in the bays. I have made the decision I'm not going to do lots of splash and goes. You know, I've had to be a little bit restrained and say I have a mission, and it's to fly around the country. It's not to have jollies on the water. So I will be landing on the water on Napier Broome Bay, which is where Goebel and McIntyre landed 100 years ago today. And then it's a short hop into the mission, and they visit the mission back then as well. So that seems appropriate. Everything's going pretty well. Gosh, it's warm up here. I've got this sun. You can see these. I know these are daggy, right? Okay, so the plane's beautiful, and I've got these daggy old car shades. I think they're for the side window for kids. This one, Ian Westlake gave to me at Rose Bay on April the 13th, 2015. I remember that because it's when it was day 2 of my round the world trip, and I'd actually called him and said I haven't thought about shade protection, and I was roasting on my way up to once I went around Eden and was flying with the northern sun straight in my eyes. So he gave me that, and I'm still using it. So Ian, as always, thank you. And we will have another dispatch in a few days. So cheerio, it's great to be up here. Toodaloo.